Hey, friends, thanks for being with me with this edition of By Grace I Am. In knowing and experiencing God and discerning the difference between the only true God, as Jesus calls the Father, and the false, perverted perception of an angry, punitive, distant, aloof, list keeping, retributive, small g God of religion, it's important that we know that God is grace. Grace is not a doctrine, not a concept, not a dogma. God is grace. Jesus personally taught a man named Paul, who then wrote to us, the grace of God has appeared, bringing salvation to all people. Grace is a person, Christ, the Spirit of Christ. Grace lives in you. Grace is the antidote and the answer to all of our negative situations. Grace is the most powerful medicine there is. For a brief introduction and seeing how this works, let's look at Jesus, not the historical textbook religious Jesus. It's sort of a mascot for religious people, rather the real Jesus, grace personified, who is an example of, not for, you. In Jesus' greatest time of trouble, facing the most brutal physical beating ever, the greatest rejection ever, the most hurtful accusations, lies, and slander ever, the greatest embarrassment ever, and ultimate physical death, Jesus chose in his mind joy. Joy and grace are very closely related. They both come from the same Greek root word. Now, before you say, well, even if Jesus did choose joy, he's God, I could never do that. Remember, we're starting to experience a totally new paradigm, one of actually believing the truth as written by Jesus' best friend, John, that as Jesus was here on the earth, so are you and me. We'll continue fleshing that out. But for right now, I want you to look at how one scripture writer wrote that Jesus faced the worst of the worst of the worst. He said this, we look away from the natural realm and we focus our attention and expectation onto Jesus, who birthed faith within us and who leads us forward into faith's perfection. His example is this, because his heart was focused on the joy of knowing that you would be his, he endured the agony of the cross and conquered his humiliation and now sits exalted at the right hand of the throne of God. See, no matter what we've experienced in the past or will ever experience, when we know the truth, we can change our mindset and move from negative to positive and focus our attention and expectation on the best positive outcome we can ever even imagine, just as Jesus did. And as you come to know and believe the love that God, grace, has unveiled within you, well, you awaken to your full inclusion of your love union where everything's perfect. And you start to see that what happens to you, what goes on around you, your circumstances and situation may not seem perfect, but within you, in your secret place, you are perfect. Just like Jesus, the Son of God is, just like God is himself. So take a few minutes in your secret place with your primary teammates, Jesus, Papa, and Grace, and say out loud, if you can, several times slowly, I am just like Jesus is. I am choosing joy. Thanks, everybody. See you all next time.